Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Riff podcast. My name is Bill Markey,
And my name is Thomas Angelo.
and today we are talking about the Smashing Machine,
Mm-hmm.
a highly anticipated movie of this year that we're very excited to chat about. The Smashing Machine, quick little tale of the tape before we get into our spoiler review and then spoiler filled breakdown of this film is a movie that just came out October 3rd, just a few days ago as we're recording here. It is directed and written by Benny Safdie of the Safdie brothers. It's produced by Benny Safdie, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, his ex, Danny Garcia, and a host of other people. It is distributed by A24, The Rock's Seven Bucks Productions, as well as, again, a variety of other production companies. This movie stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Emily Blunt, Ryan Bader, Bas Rutten, real life fighter Alexander Usyk. We have cinematography by Mark Maceo Bishop, music by Nala Sinefro. This movie had a budget of $50 million. Box office is about six.
I did see that
Um,
when I was like writing my notes about it yesterday. It was at 3 mil. So yesterday
three.
it did earn three more, but it's
We're at six.
I expected that.
This,
I expected
yeah,
that.
I could see that. This movie is based off of a John Hyman's documentary, also called The Smashing Machine. It's quick little rundown of some of the reviews here. It's pretty well received.
But it's
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 got a
also it's also just to add in. It's based on the book The Smashing Machine: The Life and Times of Extreme Fighter Mark Kerr. So
there you
it is
go.
also based on a book.
And we are currently right now for this film at a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.1 on IMDb, a 3.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Fandango's got it at 78%. And just a quick overview, this is basically about one of the pioneers of one of the pioneers of MMA, Mark Kerr, as he reaches the peak of his career but faces personal hardships along the way. So take it away. What did you think of the Smashing
Well, I
Machine?
mean, before we get into it, I just want to say happy spooky season. Happy
Happy,
October.
happy
My
spooky
favorite
season.
my favorite month of the year.
Really?
Oh, dude, I love Halloween.
Halloween is number two, right behind Christmas for
Okay,
me.
fair enough. I actually wanted to ask you a question because it was on my mind today, and this has nothing to do with the Smashing Machine.
Okay.
But do you think The Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
This is easy.
Okay.
This is an easy one for me. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And first off, like
Because I kind of want to
any
watch it, but I'm like, nah, I should wait till Christmas.
anytime I've had this debate, I tell people it's in the title.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. That's fair.
When you're literally calling it The Nightmare Before Christmas, it's in the title. Like I don't think I have to go any
Yeah, I don't
further.
even think it's a debate. I
No,
saw it on Twitter like yesterday, and now I was like, oh, I want to ask Bill about that just because it's
no,
October.
100%. And actually, I did kick off, come to think of it, I didn't even think I did kick off spooky season by watching for the eighth time since it came out Long Legs. So,
Why don't you show the YouTube viewers your tattoo?
oh, yeah, it's true. Two tattoos. So that is Nicolas Cage's eyes from one of the Long Legs posters. And up above it, that's also from a poster from the coded language that Dale Cobble uses. And this means hell awaits, which I had to do my research on because I could have gotten one by accident that meant hail Satan. And speaking of spookiness, one more thing is eventually, when I have a little more money to throw around and not care, right here will be a Aunt Gladys tattoo from
Oh,
Weapons.
so you're gonna get it like right below the eyes?
Yep,
Dude, that's dope. That's
I
dope.
think she's going to be coming out of my elbow. So,
That's
because
cute.
Weapons is still my favorite movie of the year, and Gladys is probably my favorite character of 2025
So you're probably
thus
excited for
far.
the prequel.
I am, and
Mm.
as we've said before, it is. I'm now excited because
Kreger's
Zach,
he's supporting it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's in on it, and he said it's not bullshit. I've had this idea, so being that he's not just going to get a producer credit, and he's actually going to be like seemingly like involved in this heavily,
Mm-hmm.
gives me faith
Fair
in this film.
enough. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna wait till that comes out, see how it is. Anyways, to get back to the Smashing Machine, I also want to ask you
Yep.
another question. what is your like background with the Safdie brothers? Do you like their films? Do you have any experience with them?
I've only seen Uncut Gems,
Okay.
and then I've seen Benny Safdie, obviously in Oppenheimer, and I'm so excited. I didn't tell you this. I've been avoiding trailers here and there, and yesterday or 2 nights ago, in the theater was my first time seeing the Marty Supreme
It's a
trailer.
great trailer, right?
I cannot wait to see this movie now.
It's what's the song they use? The live. They want. I want to live forever, or whatever that song is.
It was the
Oh no,
Young
forever,
Forever, which
forever
eventually,
young, forever young.
yeah, Forever
Yeah,
Young, Forever Young. Yeah.
great song. And first of all, this game, like Kevin O'Leary's in that movie, and Tyler the Creator's in that movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Tyler Acoma, that's Tyler the Creator's actual name. He was in the taxi in that little quick scene, and then Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful's in it from Shark
Kevin
Tank.
O from what?
From Shark Tank, you know the bald guy from Shark Tank who's like an asshole.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
He's not like an
Oh,
asshole. He's a funny, like mean guy.
yeah, okay.
You know, he has that personality.
I know exactly what you're
Like
talking
he
about. Yeah,
fits
okay.
right into a Safdie brothers, like
That's right. Because
film.
Josh is doing that, right?
Yeah, no, it's Josh. And what's funny is they're both being, I think, produced and distributed by A24. So
Very cool. And that's at the end of this year.
there is a rumor because the New York Film Festival is, yeah, it's coming out on Christmas.
Yeah.
Bless you. It's coming out.
Allergies.
It's coming out on Christmas, but there is a rumor that so the New York Film Festival is currently ongoing,
Yeah.
and there's a secret screening I think tonight, and the rumor is that it's going to be Marty Supreme early screening. I'm like,
Oh,
that's interesting. I'm like, it's your brother's opening weekend, and you want to have a secret screening. Like, I don't know if Josh controls that. I mean, listen, this is all speculation. This isn't
yeah.
confirmed. We could talk about it in next week's pod, if it is true. But apparently the tickets sold out for it in like 3 seconds. Like, it's the hottest ticket of the festival. People are just really want to see that movie. I really want to see that movie. Even after
Yeah.
seeing this and seeing like what part of the Safdie brothers is Benny taking from, and now I'm excited to see what part of the Safdie brothers is Josh gonna pull from for Marty Supreme. Because I
It looks
definitely
phenom-
feel the influence of Uncut Gems and their other two films, Heaven Knows What and Good Time, on this one.
I definitely see it too. And actually, one quick thing before we even get into your review or mine
Yeah.
is I did the quick spoiler-free reaction out of the theater
Oh, with your mom, that was
with
wholesome.
with my mother, and she said at one point it was true. I was like, "What?" And I know what she meant. It just felt, and this is where
I can
felt
elaborate on that. I agree with her.
I felt Uncut Gems when she said that because the movie just felt. We're gonna get into it because boy, oh boy, did I love the cinematography in this movie.
Oh, me too.
Like,
I'm gushing about it. Like it's
it, it felt like we were there.
yeah.
Like we were,
I'm gonna break that down. Like the style,
yeah.
like for the YouTube viewers, this is how much I've never taken this amount of notes for a movie on the pod yet. And
That's a lot of
this isn't
notes.
even my favorite film of the year. I really like this film. I really want you to go check it out because I think it's a really unique take on a biopic. And not only a unique take on a biopic, but a unique take in I think a new format for like a biopic sports drama.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, there's absolutely nothing in this story that you haven't seen before. This has all been done to death in film. But it's the way it's done. The execution of it is
Yeah.
different and unique, and that's what made me really like it. But also the performances are like stellar across the board. It really is like a special film in terms of performances. Benny's just a great actor's director, I think, and Dwayne disappears into this role. Obviously, there's a lot of makeup work going on, but he even went through a lot. He changed his body. Like I think he put on a lot more size for this.
30 pounds.
Crazy.
At one point during the movie, I said to my mom, "You can tell where he actually got bigger during the filming." In my opinion.
Yes, we can. In the
Yeah.
spoiler part, we can get into that because I actually
Yeah.
wrote that down. But this, I really feel this weird need to defend this movie because I've been seeing some chatter on Twitter and even Letterboxd. This movie's actually not getting that much love. It's getting a lot of like, oh, I like it and whatever. And I have some criticisms of it, but my criticisms like are not enough to make up for how much I want to support this movie and how important I think this movie actually could be for the art of biopics and the art of a sports drama and things such as this, because this is a very unique take on it. The cinematography in this film, and I'm curious if you're gonna know what I mean by this word, but like it's very voyeuristic. It's almost as if we the camera, like we are the camera in a sense, and we are like looking through a window into someone's life. It was almost as if Benny had these cameras going and didn't even tell the actors when the camera was rolling, because he was just trying to capture some raw humanistic element,
Yeah.
you know? And I loved how hazy and voyeuristic it is. And one of my favorite parts too was the camera naturally moves where your eyes, as in our eyes, want to move. It's like it was almost responding to my body language. There's a scene where Mark Coleman, who's Mark Kerr's friend in the film, who's also a UFC fighter, he just puts his hand on his knee, and the camera moves down as he puts his hand on the knee. I know that sounds really simple, but it's a good example of the camera is literally becoming my eyes.
Yep.
And thus the cinematography is becoming a vessel from how I am experiencing this film. I am the cinematography in a way. And it feels very voyeuristic. It feels like I'm stalking somebody, like I'm stalking somebody's life.
For me, I have a similar moment. It's actually when I forgot exactly what part of the film this is at. He's on the phone in the front seat, The Rock, and you literally feel like the camera must have been in the passenger side, but the row
Yeah.
behind him,
It
it's like on his neck.
it almost feels like a mockumentary in a
It
sense.
feels like we're kind of yeah, exactly.
It feels like there's
Yes.
someone there
Yeah.
filming him. Like that's how the
Yeah.
style feels. Like there's a whole portion where he's like, I think in some sort of city, and he's in the back seat of a taxi or a limo or some sort of car service, and the camera's in the other seat next to him as he's just
Yep.
sleeping. And it's like this looks like it would be out of like the Kanye West documentary or
Yeah.
this UFC fighters documentary, or some sort of thing tracking their life. But like this is a fictional movie, and it's just an interesting stylization choice.
And also, there's something I don't know if you heard. Did you hear Benny Safdie get interviewed about this movie?
I haven't. I want to go deeper into that. I follow him on Twitter because he's always on Twitter, and I also loved how he's promoting the movie. I don't know if you've seen like him with he has like a cardboard box, and it
Yeah.
has like, and he goes into the movie theaters, and it's like a whole like get tickets for the Smashing Machine. He had people coming out of like Gabby's Dollhouse, like that Gabby's Dollhouse kids movie.
Yeah.
He was like, guys, go see the Smashing Machine, go see the Smashing Machine, go see the Smashing Machine, like get tickets. And I'm like, that's really wholesome that he's like, in my opinion, he's like a really great director. I mean, he was an Oppenheimer as an actor. Like he's a great actor. He's a great director.
Yeah.
He's to me, if I see him, he's a celebrity. But like, he's just casually promoting his movie in a movie theater.
Well, it's interesting because he said during an interview, and it's something where my brain, in a good way, I knew what was going on, but I wasn't thinking about it during the movie. Kind of like I think almost what you said about One Battle, where I was like, I was with the movie, but I was still picking up on what they were doing, but I wasn't sitting there like always going, "What a great shot!" Like I just felt it when, and I'm gonna butcher a little bit, but he said the way that the fights were shot. He said when it comes to boxing, you can, get close ups, you can get in the ring. He said, I wanted to make you feel like you were outside the ring. He goes, and he said something, we had to film it that way because you can't get tight in an MMA fight because these guys get stuck together in the clinch. They go down to the ground. You can't get these perfect shots because
There's a
they're
lot of
so
overhead.
tight.
There's a lot of overhead shots.
Yeah. And like he wanted to, because, you could zoom in on Rocky when he creates distance and whatnot. But like when they get close, he's like, we can't just like, from what I remember, get the camera like tight in there.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
kept the filming outside the ring as if again you were like a spectator. It was like through the ropes that he
Again,
was
it's
catching.
voyeuristic. There's a lot of through the ropes. There's a
Yeah.
lot of through the ropes. There was a great shot of like Emily Blunt on the side, like looking through the ropes, and it's like we're kind of in her POV. Really cool shit going on here in terms of cinematography. I loved it. Even the color grading. The movie looks so pretty. It looked like it
There's
was.
times where I thought it was being shot on film.
It was.
Like it was?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
So
okay.
the opening was
Sorry,
actually
I just cut you
the
off.
opening was actually shot on VHS cameras. Like,
Holy
so it
shit.
was
I mean, that
actual,
you could tell was
it was
old looking.
actual VHS, and the sound even really evoked that. I was like, holy shit, that sound is low for a theater. Like, that's real
Yeah.
VHS. And then it switches, I believe, to 16 millimeter film stock. And then there's another point in the film where it switches from to 70 millimeters film stock. And I almost think he was pulling this trick out of what he learned from Nolan. And that's because Nolan switches film stocks a lot to evoke different emotions. I mean, he switches the color in Oppenheimer to, separate the timelines. There's things like that are going on. In this movie, when it switches the film stocks, it does feel like there's a sort of like reasoning behind it. But also, this film is just beautiful. It looks
Yeah.
so colorful and pretty and real and human. So when your mother said like this film feels true, it's not only through the filmmaking that is expressed, this humanistic raw element, but through the cinematography and that voyeuristic, we're looking through a window at these people's lives. Because ultimately, the plot in this film is the span of 3 years. The plot's almost paper thin. This is a thin plot.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
plot. This is mostly character vignettes. There becomes a little plotty towards the end with this like whole final fight, but for most of this film, it is small character vignettes. And I would even argue that this is more of a character drama than a sports drama because if I'm really counting in
100%.
my head, there's maybe 4 fight scenes in the entire film. And if you compare that to a lot of other sports dramas, that's kind of like
Yeah.
that's rookie numbers, But this is not what that's not what this film is trying to be. This is trying to be just about somebody's life and just capture life in somebody. And I thought it was really interesting, like just how Benny went, going about that, and you could see how he pulled, like, especially because you've seen Uncut Gems, I can directly compare it, just that grittiness, that humanistic element,
Yeah.
the way that he captures arguments between people.
Oof.
It feels so real. It feels so powerful. I I really I really enjoyed this film. I want to talk about Emily Blunt's performance too before I kind of wrap up my recommendation, but she's not given nearly as much as she's given in Oppenheimer in this film. She's given a very small role, but she has a lot of visual moments. There's a lot of
Yeah.
moments where the camera's just capturing how she is feeling, and she expresses a lot verbally in this film, but there's a lot of moments where it's just capturing her as a person. And I think Emily Blunt like really channeled this again humanistic element. There's a scene where it's kind of just her alone and you're just seeing her as a human being living. And it actually, we'll get into spoilers, but it actually brought me to tears a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Like, and not to like tears, but like it made me tear up because I was just like, I feel like this film is channeling like life. Like
Yeah.
in my notes somewhere, I did write it. Yeah, this is one of my notes I wrote. Movie is so pretty, VHS style to 16 millimeter film to 70 millimeter film. Very unique and pretty. Shot of Emily Blunt in the Gravitron ride felt like all caps life underlined.
I love that shot.
That is like my favorite shot in the entire movie. It's not even of Dwayne, but it's not even
Right.
really a spoiler because that shot is in the trailer. But it is when Emily Blunt's on a ride at this like state, county fair, whatever you want to call it. It is just such a beautiful moment because it's just her raw expressing like happiness. Man, I actually like can't recommend this film enough. I feel such a need to defend it. I'm so excited to see what Benny Safdie does next. So to kind of end my spoiler-free review of the film, like please go see this in theaters, go support this. This is something that I think you should watch. Like my only criticism of the film is it gets a little plotty towards the end and you could feel its runtime. This is like a 2 hour and 5 minute film. You could
It
definitely
does feel, yeah.
you could feel its runtime. This is maybe a little bit too long, but I don't want to sacrifice the character moments. I think
Agreed.
the ending could have been cleaned up a little bit, but the majority of this film, I think, is like expert directing. I'm so excited to see what Benny Safdie does next, and I'm really excited to see what Josh Safdie is going to pull from. But that's kind of my spoiler-free review.
Couple things for me is this is what we wanted from The Rock.
This is what we
I
wanted.
mean, we wanted to see more Dwayne Johnson, not The Rock. And we've been getting The Rock for years. We've been getting the showman, we've been getting the salesman, we've been getting the guy who's been playing The Rock. and he's challenged himself. This is his last big role, maybe for a long time, where he's going to be as big as he is, because now that he's lost like 6,500 pounds,
Yeah, he's
he's
so
still
frail.
massive,
It kind of looks like frail now in a way. For
but
him,
he's compared to, yeah.
for him.
Um, but you know, one of the thing, one of my biggest takeaways from this movie, and I thought of you, like I'm like, man, I can't wait to, and I'm glad you didn't bring it up, but I'm sure you'll know what I mean. Compared to like, one of my favorite fighting movies, I think it's actually one of the best, is Warrior with Tom Hardy and Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte actually was nominated for that film in a
Yeah,
supporting role. Um, and Joel Edgerton, I think, was in it too. Not Taron, but Joel. But and I love how gritty that movie is. It's an awesome MMA movie. This movie is a lot more gritty, but one thing I took away was the interesting choice to go back to Warrior, to go back to Rocky, of when they're fighting, everybody knows that the music, like when they're fighting, the big
I
orchestra,
didn't even comment on the score. Yeah,
the intense music, the music in this movie during the fighting, and this is not in a bad way, is like elevator jazz music or
it's
something.
this movie is very jazzy and hypnotic. It's not like a sports movie. This to me,
No,
this is pulling. I don't know if you've seen it, Raging Bull, because the Safdie brothers are huge
De
fans
Niro,
of Martin Scorsese. And
yeah.
yeah, so Scorsese made Raging Bull, and obviously he made like Taxi Driver. The two of those films, both of De Niro, obviously
This reminded me of Taxi
they're
Driver
very
score.
jazzy and hypnotic
Yes,
and whatnot. No, I was listening to the score. Let me find her name.
her name is
Nala
Nala Sinefro.
Sinefro.
Yeah,
What a fucking score! I wrote in my notes, subtle but
yeah.
stellar. It's it's so subtle, but there's like these moments of like the jazziness in the score. Like the rest of the Safdie brothers film scores, they're very jazzy and like synthetic and unique and have this like hypnotic hazy feel to it. And this movie kind of evokes the same thing, but it feels so raw. Like the fact that it's playing while they're fighting, that's a great point for you to bring up. I wish I brought
And
that up.
not like the usual. It's like,
Nope.
it's just like stuff that you can go like, if you just heard it in any other situation, just like snap your fingers, be like, this is a good tune. It was like such an interesting choice of music for the fight
Do
scenes. It
you
was wild.
do you think that's because they're trying to channel Mark's like headspace and persona and human element rather than portray him as a movie character? With
That's like,
like that,
I
because
guess going back,
when you think of the Creed movies and that fighting music's playing,
yeah.
do you see Apollo Creed, like the was his name Apollo Creed? I forget. Whatever it's the son of Creed's name is, the
Oh, yeah. I don't
Michael
remember.
B. Jordan's Creed.
Yeah.
Like when you view him, I view him as a movie character. Mark
Right.
Kerr in this film, by like being played by Dwayne, like I really felt like I was watching a human being on display.
100%. And just like, I kept picking up. I'm like, wow, this is not like, and not in a bad way. This isn't some overly, again, not in a bad way, overly memorable score where it's like when you're like, what was sing me the song during Rocky 4 when they're fighting. This is
Yeah,
like,
it's a
I
movie.
don't know.
That's a movie, you know.
Yeah, like it just, and I guess to go back to what you said, maybe it did capture what was going through Mark Kerr's head, because in the beginning, with what you just said about it being like shot on VHS, like you hear how calm he is about fighting, but then he's got like, he seemed to me like, I was waiting for this guy to kind of explode, and part of it was because he was so reserved, but you do see him have moments, but the guy was, he had his darkness, but he never just became this like
No,
monster.
in the moments when like things do get dark, and there's actually one scene in this movie that does get pretty dark, but it's almost like Dwayne as an actor is playing Mark Kerr, but Mark Kerr himself is playing a character of a character of a character. You know, he's the person in the ring. He's the person who's trying to be the gentle giant. He's the person who's trying to hide his personal struggles. It's like this person, it's like Dwayne's playing Mark Kerr, but then
Yeah,
Mark Kerr himself in his life was playing all these different personas and roles, and
right.
you could feel the breakdown happening. And I thought that was such an interesting. Like this movie is really just about personal struggles and identity and things like that. But it's really just about human emotion and life, and just like letting letting you feel those emotions when the plot is thin and you just have these character vignettes. Like when the plot is thinner, it allows for, it leaves more room for those emotions to linger if executed correctly, and I think they were executed correctly for the most part. I just really think the third act kind of gets a little too plotty for my liking.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was this was good. I do think we're kind of going to be in the minority here, because it does kind of seem like this is kind of being viewed as like an average movie.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are saying it's missing the bite of a sports drama, but to me, what I like about this film is that it's missing the bite of the sports drama. It is something unique. It is a new take on this genre, on this form. That's what excites me about it.
Let's go into the spoilers because there is
Yeah.
some things I want to discuss that go off of what you
Okay, so
just said.
spoiler to anyone who hasn't seen The Smashing Machine yet.
One
Go and see
thing,
it.
uh, one thing about this movie that I was feeling, not as a negative, but I guess because we're so programmed watching sports, these sport dramas, is I couldn't help but still think, when is something really going to happen here? And like nothing really ever does truly like
No, nothing. Almost nothing
happen,
happens in this film. It gets
right?
close. It
Like
gets close, but
if this was another movie, the ending would have been Coleman and Mark Kerr. But
exactly.
like Kerr doesn't get that far.
Hmm.
Like, he doesn't get as far as to meet Coleman. And it's like this happy ending where Coleman, who you find out is like at that point in his career, is not, he's pretty much on his last leg, and he gets that happy, like, and but he gets like the fighting career's happy ending. Um, and it's like coming from underneath, because while you're watching, the focus is on Kerr, you can't help but feel for Coleman and love him so much that when the ending hits, I wasn't like, oh, I wish Mark Kerr would have won that. I was like thrilled that Coleman won.
They also
Like,
don't villainize any of his opponents like another
no,
sports drama movie would. None of these
exactly.
opponents are villainized. They're just people who are working their job.
Even Alexander Usyk, who's a real life fighter,
Yeah, that's the one he
and
takes the picture with, right?
yeah,
That was also one of my favorite moments in the film. It's a literal blink if you miss a moment when Dawn, you know,
Emily Blunt,
Yeah, Emily Blunt, Mark Kerr's girlfriend, not wife.
yeah,
I kept thinking in my head that they were married, but that
same here, yeah,
they're just dating in the film. But there's a literal blink and you miss a moment when she's taking the picture of them, when he like kind of disincludes her from the picture. A
yeah,
little tear falls down her eye, like the
love that moment,
littlest tear. Like you could really blink and miss it, but like
yeah,
the eagle-eyed viewers will catch that. That's what I meant by Blunt's character of Dawn has these visual moments where it's just capturing how she feels. There's
yeah,
no dialogue needed. You know exactly how she feels off that moment. You know
yep.
exactly what she's feeling. But it's a literal blink and you can miss a moment. But I
That
really thought this was one of my favorite performances from her, because she was given not a lot, but she does so much.
that part was in the trailer. So when it got to that part in the movie where she's crying and she takes a picture, I was still wanting it. Like I was still waiting for that moment. I was like, oh, this is that moment. Even the shot with her on the gravitron, that's in the trailer. But then when you see the build up to that, where he's like, I can't go on that. He's like, my tummy. It's gonna hurt my tummy.
Might sell me
My tummy. And she does it anyway. And you're like, this is where she's free. Like
that
this.
this is her freedom. This is her moment. And
Yep.
even how the camera cuts from like the spinning of the gravitron to just her, and her
Yeah.
smiling and just having the time of her life, and it holds on it for like a minute or two. So it was like
It's
it was really beautiful.
beautiful
Like
scene.
I literally wrote like felt like life, all caps, underline.
Even the shots, and you brought this up before we got into the spoilers, of them arguing, it feels like when you're a kid and your parents are fighting and you're
Yes,
peeking
that's
around the corner,
such a good example.
and it's like you're seeing over mom's shoulder and dad's anger, and you're just like, oh shit. Like, and even as the audience, like you're just like, is he gonna hit her? Is he gonna, like, and some, some of us have maybe been there. I've been there where I thought, is this gonna get this bad with my parents? And where she's like, hit me. You want to hit me? Um, I might have been in an argument or two where that I've heard that too. Like it just felt, I didn't do it. And yeah, I am a pro wrestler too. So it's such like, oh, you want to take the tough guy out? Whatever. I'm not going to say her name, but anyway, like, so, but like, it just, you have a bird's eye view, like a fly on the wall. Just all these, even the shot where, and we've seen it in the trailer, he punches the door. Like I feel like I was sitting on the couch watching it. So dad just hit
It
the
feels like an
door.
awkward moment when you're at someone's house and something that's not supposed to happen happens, and you're just kind of sitting there like, where do I go? What do I
Yeah,
do? It feels like that. It captures this the that this. God, it feels so voyeuristic. Like this film just captured. It made it so immersive.
it really is. It makes me
I didn't even
excited to
feel like I
see it
was
again.
watching a movie that much. Like I really until the ending. Like I really didn't feel like I was watching like that much of a movie. We'll get into the ending later, but I really did like the weird oddball ending this film has. But what do I really want to get into? I want to talk about the scene where Dawn tries to commit suicide because
My theater got like I
my
heard
theater
people
got
react.
like yeah, I had a good amount of people. Nice like little
Me
Saturday
too.
afternoon screening. I had a
Me
good amount
too.
of people, and it was good because I was happy to see that many
My
people.
theater was packed.
Awesome. That makes me
My
really happy.
minus a couple rows, my theater was packed.
When she walks off screen, I'm like, oh, is she just like going to like get money from a safe or like something like that? I'm like, what is she doing? When he turns the corner and the gun's in her hand, I cannot tell you. The entire theater was like, no, 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 no. Like they literally, some guy like screamed no. Like it was an
Yeah.
instant reaction, and that's how you could tell that someone's immersed in a movie.
Oof.
He didn't even realize that he was in a movie theater. He was so loud. Like,
That's great.
you know what I mean? Like it's such an immersive experience. And again,
Yeah.
that's all testament to the cinematography. But I wanted to talk to you about that scene. What did that scene make you feel?
I mean, I felt a few things come to mind. I felt, yeah, like on a subtle note, I felt awkward. Like again, like I'm watching these two people fight and I don't want to see them fight. And then I felt panicky. Like I was like, that's those are the points in the movie, not the fights. It was those real characters. That's when I felt most nervous for the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't feel nervous for him during the fights because that's like this fight's going to go one way or another. Now, when it's like they're not in this controlled environment
Mm-hmm.
and he has all this size and she has all this pushback and she's a woman and he's a big guy and you're like, okay, he's under the influence, I think. Now he's drinking, he shouldn't be drinking. And then, like then I'm like, I'm trying to take sides for a second. So I feel conflicted like a kid. Like, why is dad yelling? Well, mom said a bad word. She shouldn't have said that, but maybe dad has a point. And I'm watching these two people who I both think they're both bad for each other. I didn't take any sides for the most part. I think both of them were, it was kind of 50-50. So I was like in between, like, I'm like, who's right, who's wrong. And then, like, I had a lot of emotions. I genuinely feel like for me, it's like a kid watching their parents, or like you're a guest and watching somebody else's parents fight. I was like taking sides. I felt panicked. I felt awkward. I felt the intensity of the scene. Like I felt the intensity, even though we see them fight three times. I wasn't like, oh, another fight.
Yeah, no.
Like I was just like,
And
oh,
I don't even
it's
think
gonna.
that's the best fight scene in the movie. I'm gonna get into I think what was the best scene between them. But there's this element to that scene where it feels like it's the moment in the movie where the shoe's gonna drop. It feels like, oh, her death is gonna be like this new element to the movie. But
Yeah.
again, nothing happens.
Yep.
She just gets arrested. And it was this weird moment where I was like, huh. Like I know nothing about Mark Hurt. I almost know nothing about the UFC. I know nothing about these people. I'm experiencing as a first time watcher. I had no idea if she was gonna live or die. So when it didn't happen, I was like, okay, whoa. Like narratively, where is this movie going? Because he's now out of rehab. He's doing better. Obviously, he has this fight coming up, but really, where is this movie going? Because it feels like he's already gotten better by the time he's gotten
Yeah.
out of rehab a little bit. But I did enjoy some of the elements of the ending of where the character goes. But that was a very interesting moment where it really felt like that was like where the shoe was gonna drop. And then it didn't. And it made me sit back and I was like, huh, like this whole moment just like really like it took out all my emotions and then threw them right back in and now I'm confused. It was such an interesting scene, like staging wise.
That's how a lot of that movie goes.
Where
And
she
it,
pulls the gun out, she's aiming it at her head, he runs after her, she runs to the back. It was so interestingly staged.
yeah.
It was a moment where I really felt the Scorsese influence because it was like
I can see that.
You know, it really felt like it was capturing an argument between a man and a woman so well, but I had no idea where it was going. It was staged so well. I, that's a scene that just really is stuck in my head right now.
The thing is, like, I've heard, I've never really experienced this. Um, okay, that's kind of a lie. I mean, I like would never say names. I have been in an argument where I don't think I ever told you this, not because it just didn't come up. I have been in a bad fight where somebody threatened to. I've been in a fight where somebody threatened to
The Harmons.
severely harm themselves,
Yeah.
and it took me actually having to safely restrain that person to not do it. And it's funny, I wasn't even thinking of that during it. Now I'm thinking of it. But I've known people through my job as a personal trainer and whatnot. People have told me about relationship experiences. And I've heard people say, "Yeah, my we've been to a point where my partner was gonna do this or that. It didn't happen." And it's funny because again, enough is funny, but in a movie or in a movie like that too, same thing. I was like, this is the moment where like Rocky loses Mickey and it changes everything and blah blah blah, whatever. And it doesn't happen, but the come down from that, it's not like I was like, oh, it didn't happen. Oh, all right. Like, but that come down, I was still feeling that. Like when he's holding on to her, like it didn't like lose me. Like I thought, oh, here it comes. And I wasn't like, oh, like that wasn't what I thought. Like just the come down from it, it just felt so real and guttural.
It really felt like it was capturing like Blunt's like real energy just leaving her body. It was really
Yeah.
scary. It was
It was
scary. It
scary.
was
Yeah.
scary. It felt that scene felt a little too real in a way where
It
I
feels
felt
real. Exactly.
it felt like I wasn't watching a movie. It felt like I really was peering into someone's life in a moment where I shouldn't be there. You know,
It's a great way of putting it. Yeah. It's a great way of putting it.
my favorite scene between them though, and I'm curious if you maybe feel the same way, is the cactus scene.
Ooh.
There was a really great element, and it kind of harkens back to what you were saying of like, oh, I agree with that person, but I also agree with this person. In that scene, Dawn basically says to Mark like, oh, you'd be a good father. But Mark is currently upset the fact that like she didn't take care of the things in the house that he wanted her to take care of. So there's this moment where it's like, oh, I kind of agree with Mark, like she should be carrying her weight. But I agree with Dawn because maybe she was just complimenting him.
Right.
So
Or maybe she
or
wasn't
maybe she wasn't.
because
So that's why I agree with both of them. You know.
because people get into arguments too. Everybody's been here where
Yeah.
your friend or your partner says something and you're like, I was kidding. And you're like, no, you
No,
weren't.
you weren't. Like you meant
Yeah.
that. You know.
But then maybe maybe they were, even though you don't think they were.
Exactly.
And
It's
and you're
it's this
like, right.
dichotomy that makes it really interesting, but it's all the symbolism of this cactus. And almost
Yeah.
like the cactus maybe representing the idea of their hypothetical child, like things like that, like who would take care of it. That scene was really well written. I really loved that scene.
And it's interesting too. One thing I thought of before, and I'm glad you brought up the cactus thing because it brought it back, was during at least two of those arguments, that one and even the attempted suicide scene, there's quick moments where myself included, the audience quickly laughed. Like in the scene before the suicide attempt happens, when he's behind the glass and he's like, she's yelling, and he just goes, "Do you hear what I have to deal with?" to his sponsor. My
Yeah,
theater was
yeah,
laughing.
people do like that a little laughs. There's little
Yeah,
moments of levity, but when you think about it, that moment is still really serious. You
it
know,
is
it's very,
exactly.
very like the context of it, very serious.
And to think that you're 20 seconds away from being nervous or panicking, even like the cactus scene, again, that's what I was feeling like, oh, he's being a bit of an OCD kind of dickhead here. But then you're watching her sit down, enjoy the fruits of his labor. And then you're like, well, couldn't you just skim the pool? Even though,
Yeah,
or couldn't you just cut the
exactly,
cact?
exactly.
Yeah, right. Like, he cares about this. He is the breadwinner here. But then you're also like, dude, it's skimming. She just skimmed the pool 5 minutes ago. You know what I mean? Or the leaves just fell in, whatever she said. Like it's such an interesting look. Like I felt like those arguments were so real life. It makes me want to watch Marriage Story now and really see what those argument scenes are about.
Yeah.
Since you've raved about it and multiple other people have.
An element of this movie that I think we haven't discussed yet is this movie is actually more so, even more than a sports drama. It's kind of it's about an addict, you know.
Yeah.
It's about an addict, and So Heaven Knows What, which was their debut film, the Safdie
Hmm.
brothers, that is about an addict. It is fully about an addict. Like it has no elements of like a sports or any other elements. It is a fully movie about a drug addict. And I kind of felt the pull from that a little bit. I'd be really interested to see how you feel once you've seen Good Time, especially because you're a big Robert Pattinson guy,
Yeah.
and even Heaven Knows What, because Heaven Knows What feels a lot like an independent film. Like you could feel that guerrilla filmmaking in it.
Uncut Gems is
But
also about an addict,
yeah, no,
you know?
that's a great point. It is. It's about
Yeah.
just gambling, but in this movie, it has this like different. It has a different way of going about it in that uh, the addiction is almost never expressed verbally. When people are
Hmm.
talking about it, they're kind of talking around it. Like there's a whole great scene between him and Mark Coleman, which we didn't really talk about his performance, but Ryan Bader's performance is really good.
Phenomenal.
It's very
Yeah.
calm, and I'm sure maybe that's how he was hearkening off the real Mark Coleman. A very calm, chilled dude, very chilled dude,
Can I jump in
and
for a second?
yeah, sure.
And we'll go right back to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I used to follow MMA back in the heyday during Chuck Liddell and Rampage Jackson and Tito Ortiz's day. And I know guys that train like jujitsu. A lot of them go to my gym because we have a jujitsu studio next door. And Joe Rogan has talked about this. George St. Pierre is a fantastic example of this. A
Mm-hmm.
lot, a lot of MMA guys are like that. They have such a there's a zen to being an MMA fighter that like boxers don't really have. Where in that type of combat sport, and Rogan's talked about this, like they have such a like some of the most like everybody knows the Gracie family. They're like the pioneers of mixed martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
and they are known to be the most chilled out, soft spoken, just calm guys. And Rogan chalks it up a lot to the brotherhood in MMA
And that's kind of
and
what this movie's
how,
about.
yeah, these dojos and these teams are just so closely knit, and how some of these guys in real life are also big potheads. So they're also zened out a lot from that. Not that that movie gets into like marijuana use, but like that is such an accurate representation. Like when you watch a lot of MMA fighters talk, like that's how they are. Like maybe Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor are not. They're always more wound up. But most MMA fighters and guys who train in those multiple sports, they're so calm and chill and like just they're like these big bears or whatever. They're skinny
It's a
guys
great
like Anderson
example.
Silva who can
E-
kill you with a
even
kick, but
even
they're
though
so chill.
Yeah, even the one scene
Sorry.
we sorry, even the one scene we see of Mark Coleman with his kids, it's such
Yeah.
just like a chill dad moment. You
Yep.
know, it's a chill dad moment. I
Yeah.
really liked his performance. But getting back to it, oh, the addiction is talked around so much in this movie. Whenever Dawn brings it up, she just says the thing or like, well, he's taking too much or things like that. We don't even see when Mark Kerr, collapses from it.
Right.
We don't even
Right.
actually see that. We're just given the call. We're given the visceral reaction. Because again, I think it's trying to capture that humanistic element. It's kind of like in Succession. Spoiler alert.
Boom. I was thinking the same
Like
thing.
spoiler
Yeah.
alert for Succession. Like please skip 20 seconds ahead if you have not finished Succession. But when waiting for you to skip, Logan Roy dies. He dies off screen, and we're just given the call, that raw human element of the call that you will only get in real life, most likely when one of your loved one dies. You're just gonna
Right.
get the call, and that's what makes it so much more human. That's just another example. But really talking
Yep.
about the addiction, there's this great scene between him and Mark Coleman where they're talking about it in a hospital bed, but they never actually say it. They never
Nope.
say what he's taking, anything specific. It's just they're talking around it, but you know exactly what they are talking about. And I really like that. And even the themes of addiction in this film, when like really there's this great scene where Mark Kerr's talking to Dawn and he's like, there's no other high like it. There's
Yeah.
no other high like it. And I think that was a really expert use of the word high because it plays so much into the addiction role.
Good call.
And there's also this really great scene where he goes to a dumpster and just throws all the drugs out.
Yeah.
I really love that scene.
And one thing, and not to sound pretentious, but I've been a professional wrestler since 2013,
Hmm.
and I took a little over a year off recently. I just got back in the ring about 6 months ago,
Yep, killing it.
and I appreciate that. And you've been a huge help with making videos for me, character promos and vignettes where,
Go check those out on his Instagram if you haven't.
thank you. I've been getting a lot of praise. Somebody just recently told me, a fellow wrestler said, "You're a talent." He just told me this yesterday on Instagram. He goes, "You're a talent that the world really needs to see more of." And
100%, dude. You're killing it.
I really appreciate that. And one thing I can say is, even though what I do is staged and predetermined, is there's I had two shows a few days ago before we are recording, and I just kept thinking like, um, it is, again, it's performance, but it's such a high and an addiction. Like, if I can bottle that up and sell to people, it would be the most successful, drug that you can take. And that
Mm-hmm.
is something that is like, it's staged, but I
Yeah.
love that feeling so much, of being able to be in the middle of this ring with all these people screaming around. There's nothing like it for me personally. And this movie also reminded me, now that I think of it, not just the way, like the raw, gritty moments, but the way it's shot, it does remind me of The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, where you're
Mm-hmm. It
watching,
has that
and
psychological element to it, you know?
there are these there are these big moments in the movie, but for the most part, you're just watching this guy
I
try.
I would say The Wrestler feels more like a movie in a
It
couple of
does.
ways. This definitely feels like a different take on it, but I do agree in terms of the psychological nature of that story, you
Yes.
know?
And that's what exactly what I'm talking about, where you're just watching. The wrestling is second, and the combat aspect to like what you're watching this guy go through in real life versus how he feels when he gets into the ring.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And
Definitely.
like the dichotomy of like those two things. Um and I don't know, it was really connecting with me on that level. Um and Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I'm just starting to just like ramble. I'm not even sure what that was based off of, like what you said
I
before.
well, just talking about the high, you know.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
I want to talk to you because I actually had a question for you. So about the character Baz, who's like his trainer.
Oh, Boss Rutan,
Yeah, or is it
who
Boss?
play
It's actually played by
who
him,
plays
right?
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
Boss Rutan.
All right. So Boss. That's his. I was thinking Bass for some reason. The way I think the way Dwayne says it in the film, it kind of sounds like
Yeah.
Bass. I don't know, but I was gonna ask you as you know because you're a pro wrestler. Have you ever had someone like that in your life who was like a trainer like that? And
1,000%.
I was like, could maybe you could expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I just texted him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Danny Moff, and anybody who knows me somewhat personally knows that Dan Moff is he's one of the most important, one of the most important people in my life. Like, he is the guy who shaped me into the performer that I am. I just texted him yesterday this whole thing saying, um, this personal message where I said, you know what, this second run of my career, I don't really care about getting a contract to one of the big companies. If I can have the impact on other wrestlers' careers and have your career, then I'd be doing something right. Like, there's a true connection
That's kind of like
with the,
when you have a mentor and you kind of want to live up to them, you want to be them,
yep,
you know.
100%. And he always pushes me to do more, to be more. And like, when he's a guy who, when I see him in locker rooms, it's not just like it's a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And like, our families know each other. Like, he's like my big brother. And like, if I have a bad performance, I always, like, I think about him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh man, I think I'm letting Moff down. And there's that real, that connection. It's big. Like, and that's an important thing. Like, it goes a long way. Like, in real life, Floyd Mayweather, who's one of the pound for pound best fighters of all time in boxing, his relationship, like his dad, um, had a huge impact on him in negative ways.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was a fighter, and him and his dad do not have a good connection. But for those that know boxing, Jerry Roach is one of the most popular trainers of all time. I believe he's Manny Pacquiao's trainer,
Mm-hmm.
and like, Pacquiao and Roach have this like unbreakable bond. I guess you want to go movie, Mickey and Rocky. Like, it's that severe connection that you have to this person. Like, Mike Tyson's trainer shapes, if anybody knows, I forgot his trainer's name, the way that that guy thinks, the way that he functions. Like, Tyson credits so much of his success to his trainer, whose name I can't think of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you're in combat, like real combat, which I've never done, like it is so important to have that person like in your corner. They're not just a coach, they're like a huge part of like just your personal life too. Like so that really I loved the element of Boss Rutan and Mark Kerr.
That all being said, that all being said, this is what I really want to get into. The scene where he gives him the injection when he
The
has,
painkiller.
yeah,
Yeah.
is that a heartwarming scene or is that a negative scene?
Both. Like it's
Because there's a shot
negative.
where it focuses on the painkillers in the garbage can, and I was like,
Yeah.
huh, why did they linger on it like that? Like, what am I supposed
It,
to... That was the one scene where I didn't really know what I was supposed to pull from it, and I was curious if you could expand on it maybe a little bit.
I feel like that scene, from my perspective, was showing the care and concern that because he kept saying, I need 90 minutes, I need 90 minutes, which isn't a long time, but when you're in pain, that's a long fucking time. And you can tell how hurt he was. And,
The
you know,
shakiness of his
yep.
voice and everything, yeah.
And he just wanted to
Really,
take care
actually,
of him.
sorry to sneak in, but like great performance that he was playing himself. Like
Yeah.
really great performance.
And he really just, you saw the care and concern as an audience. That scene, I feel, plays a trick on you because then you're wondering, is Mark going to start using again? Like, uh-oh, like it's readily available. Now he's gonna, but then he throws it out. Like that's where like it's heartwarming in the sense where he's taking care of him. And it's a positive where it's like, oh no, it's he's still staying true to
It
himself.
it
He's not gonna go down
yeah.
that
It
road.
almost does have this like negative feeling over it though, and I don't know what it was I was feeling in that moment. It felt a little I don't know.
For me, it was like a roller coaster. It
Yeah, yeah.
started
Like
as
a lot of scenes in this film.
like, oh, he wants to take care of him. Oh shit, he knows exactly where the drugs are. Oh, thank God he threw it out.
Yeah.
Like that's how I felt about the scene where he has the beer. Where I'm just like, oh, he's doing good. Oh fuck, he's got a beer. Like I'm like, oh, but is he doing good? Is he in control?
And then
And
that
that
scene becomes
scene,
a whole roller coaster of another. Yeah.
and that's how I felt about that scene with the painkiller. It's like, oh no, but then like, oh no, Mark is really staying true to him. So that's right. At the end, I kind of felt that was heartwarming, more
Okay. Yeah.
heartwarming than negative.
I can agree.
Yeah,
Moving on to the third act because we haven't really talked about it. Personally, this is where the film loses me a little bit during this final tournament for, is it Pride? Is that what it was?
that's Pride. Which, by the way, Pride.
Yeah.
They real quick. They drop a couple names like Dan the Beast Severn, who was a huge name in MMA and actually transitioned eventually into pro wrestling in the late
Oh,
90s.
wow.
And then there was Don Fry, who, if anybody knows Don Fry, he has like a podcast now. He is a man's man. Pride back in the day was one of the most barbaric forms of combat sports. If any, I don't remember the guy's name, but Don Fry, it's maybe the craziest fight I've ever seen. You can find on YouTube. Like I want to rewatch it now. He fought this like Japanese guy, I think it was. It is one of the hardest things you can watch because these guys are beating the living shit out of each other. It's the definition of a slugfest, like two men getting in there. Pride was wild back in the day. I never really got into Pride, but when they said that it was Pride, I was like, oh, this is Pride. Like Pride was nuts back in the day. This is like that was like one of the more barbaric forms of combat fighting. And where was I going with this? But like when they dropped those names, I was like, oh shit, Don Fry. That's right. I remember that.
All right. So it was
Um,
Pride. I didn't know if I was
yeah, it was
misspeaking.
Pride. Yeah.
But the whole Pride final fight and everything, my favorite scene in that entire thing was when Mark Kerr takes Mark Coleman outside and they like talk and they like have a little moment with the fans.
Yeah.
Because it was this nice moment where, you know, Mark Kerr, I think, has like the charisma that Mark Coleman kind of lacks. Like Mark Coleman's more relaxed, zen, like you were saying. Kerr has this like charisma. He's looking for the high of the people and everything. And it's like in
Yeah.
that moment, he kind of gives that gift to Coleman. And it was
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, Coleman kept giving and giving and giving to Mark throughout throughout the film. And this was a nice little reversal moment where it was like Kerr's kind of giving him a push, you know?
100%. And the fact that even at the end, I kept thinking like again maybe program the way sports dramas go. Are they going to get to the final? And it's another. Is it? Oh no, it doesn't happen. Like they're not going to fight each
You think,
other.
oh, the shoe's gonna drop? Nope.
Exactly. And he
And
looks nervous,
he
Mark
looks
Kerr.
he looks very nervous, and
Yeah.
but but it's like the Japanese dudes that he's fighting, like they're not even characterized at all. They're just dudes doing their job.
Yep.
They're not villains in the film. They're not anything. They're just humans working their job. That's literally all it is.
And I think a good showcase of that is when he takes that picture with, again, real life fighter Alexander Usyk. And even though Usyk gives him the, then again, he's in the middle of a fight. He's just doing what he's trained to do. He's kneeing Mark in the head. But afterwards, which is illegal at that point, but afterwards, they're taking a picture. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
He's like, it's
Like,
okay. It's okay.
yeah, like it just really shows like that's how these guys are. And in real life, like minus those that really have animosity towards each other, like it really shows that at the end of the day, like this brotherhood
Hmm.
amongst all of them. I thought that was a really beautiful showcase in that scene, and then the scene you just brought up with Coleman.
Yeah. So to me, I don't know how you feel about this, but the third act where it's all that pride tournament and everything,
Yeah.
I did like the My Way training sequence because
Yes.
it wasn't a Frank Sinatra cover of it. It was somebody else, I believe,
Yeah.
right?
I
It
don't
was
remember who it
I
was.
don't know who it
Yeah.
was, but I did really like that scene. I thought there were some really pretty shots in that scene, just really evoking that late '90s, early 2000s stylization. It was really beautiful. But in terms of the plot there, I think that's where it gets a little plotty, where it's like, oh, will they, won't they fight? Kind of feels a little plotty and everything, you
I
know.
agree.
But it does to me, at least with the Dwayne the Rock version of Mark Kerr's ending in this film, with the smile in the shower. And this is kind of where I think the film has a sleight of hand over the audience. It kind of reveals what it was really about. Because all throughout this film, it's like these small little character vignettes and everything. But the final kind of two shots of the fictional dramatization story of this is Mark Coleman with the belt and Mark Kerr smiling in the shower. And to me, how I interpreted that was it was the two different forms of winning. And it was, Mark Coleman, he worked hard. He stayed true to himself. He was honest. He didn't do any drugs. He didn't do anything bad, at least as we know. And he won. He won fair and square. But Mark Kerr kind of had, in that shower, when he smiles, which feels like the real first smile we've kind of seen from him, it kind of feels like this personal victory.
Yeah.
He's like, I've lost, but I'm happy with myself. I am myself. I am me. Like, I have accepted who I am. And that's kind of how I interpret it, but I was curious how you maybe interpret it, how you feel about the entire third act of the film.
I took that as, especially when we see, and I'm going to bring a real life example into this, how certain fighters cannot handle losing.
Hmm.
When
Like, he can't
when
even
Ronda,
fathom it in the film.
yeah, when Ronda Rousey lost her first fight to Holly Holmes, she said on Ellen DeGeneres that she felt suicidal. Like she was such a killer to the point of she really thought like she just wanted to kill herself. If I
Hmm.
remember correctly, that was something Ronda Rousey said. And we see what happens to Mark when he loses earlier, when he realizes like, oh, I can lose, I can be broken. Versus the end of the movie, you see this progression where he didn't go back down the route of drugs,
Hmm.
and now he's lost the fight and he's at peace. So I, looking back, I really do like that ending because the guy who won should have won. Like Mark Coleman won. And that's the guy who really like,
But it's
again, it
cutting
was,
back between two of them, and I think it's this like
yeah,
weird sleight of hand of the film where it's like, wait, this movie was really about the two of them in a
right.
way. It was about these two people who are on two different paths to winning in life, and they each got there in different ways. But it was interesting. It was kind of this weird sleight of hand, whereas like the Mark Coleman nature of the story sneaks its way in towards
Yep.
the end, and it's like, oh, that's what you were really going for. It was like these are the two different types of people who can win in life. These are the two
Yeah.
different types of personal victories that you can have. It's not always about winning the game, but it's about winning for
Yeah.
yourself too. And that's
It's
kind
a,
of what I
oh,
saw.
sorry. To me, it's a, now looking back, it's a very subtle look at, in my opinion, the relationship of Rocky and Apollo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in a way, like very subtle, where like when they're friends, that is, like, and you're watching them both progress in
Hmm.
different ways. And when you look back and you're thinking, oh, Mark Coleman won, that's interesting. But then you look back on Coleman as an individual throughout that movie,
Hmm.
him being a family man, him, they sneak in there like, oh, Coleman hasn't been doing good recently. This might be it for him. And then in that moment, I go, oh, like I'm happy of this guy. When he won, I was like, I'm happy he
Because
won.
you're thinking of like his kids and like their
Yep.
life and everything, you know?
And the way that just to go back, how it shows that unpredictability of life, and you brought up the scene from Succession where like you can be playing with your kids and whatnot, and then you get this horrific phone call, and like just the unpredictability of life, and what happens when somebody's falling apart, but then what their brother, unofficially he's not his actual brother, and like how people respond to it, and like who I had a conversation with somebody last night about this, who your real friends are. And actually, that's I'm glad you're doing a great job at driving this episode. It's because it's sparking a lot of thoughts. I said last night, I'm really glad you brought this up. I said last night to somebody, I said, there are individuals who I say I would take a bullet for, and not to get too graphic and dramatic here, and I'm sorry if this hits anybody the wrong way. I said, I won't name names. I said, there's this person, I'll take a bullet for him here. And then I said, then there's individuals, and you were one of them. And I said, Tommy, I'll take one right here. And I said, because take a bullet, yeah, but where are you going to take it? And when Mark Coleman drops what he's doing, I'll take the first flight out. Like that to me is also showing like this beautiful element of like friendship and really being there for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
looking back,
100%, dude.
I'm excited to rewatch this movie,
Me too.
to watch the tale of these two people because it's so subtle.
It's like when it gets to the end, I'm like, you fucking sneaky bastard, Benny Safdie, because
Yep.
like you did something here under, like it was an undercover plot line, you know, because you're focusing so much on Mark Kerr and Dawn and everything,
Yeah.
and obviously Mark Coleman's not given as much as Mark Kerr in this film because this film is about Mark Kerr, but it's that nice. I really liked the cutting right at the end between the two of them, and it's like, huh, these are like two brothers essentially, and they both won at life in different ways.
Yep.
And I found that really interesting. But just before we wrap up, I kind of want to talk about the weird oddball ending this film has, where it kind of breaks the
It
fourth
is
wall.
oddball.
It's oddball,
Yeah.
but it's kind of stayed with me. But
Yeah.
before I get into it, what are your thoughts on the ending where we see actual Mark Kerr at a grocery store in 2025?
It's funny when they cut to him, I was like, oh, I was like, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
And even when he looks at the camera, and he's like, bye, everybody.
Yeah, that's what
Or
I'm gonna
hi,
break that
everybody.
moment down. Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was like, is that the film telling us like, hey, present day, we want to let you know that scene in the shower where he's at peace, it's still here. This
Mm-hmm.
guy is still doing good. We want to let you know. Like that was the movie's version, even though they do put some wording up on the screen. That was like when the movie says, like when the movie ends and before the credits roll, the graphics come up. Nowadays, this person lives at home and they're happily married. We actually see
We
it
see like a visual representation of it.
of him just now this guy's at peace, just being one of us. And
Yeah.
like and it also too the way that within the film, Mark Coleman, it sneaks up on you. Mark Kerr kind of snuck up on MMA because not a lot of people give him. I think now after this movie they will. Not a lot of people know that name or give him the credit that he deserves. When people talk about the pioneers of MMA, a lot of the times the Gracies come up. People talk about the early days of Randy Couture, again, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz. Mark Kerr's name does not get thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And to see his story and then to hear or to see, I'm sorry, how he is now. That was like I like that ending. That's like a happy
Me
ending to
too.
me.
It kind of at first I was like, whoa, this is a weird epilogue. You know,
It
it was
was,
a little,
yeah,
it was jarring. It was jarring, but this is why I believe personally that it works, and it's because think of it like this: throughout the entire movie, we literally throughout this entire review, we've been harkening back to that voyeuristic, camera work where it feels like we're there in the scene, awkward, sitting there. And the moment of real life Mark Hurt at the end where he waves and he's like, "See you guys," it feels like a breaking of the fourth wall where it's like, oh, like we have been here. the entire time.
Right.
We've been here watching you the entire time. And now
Good
he's
call.
actually just saying goodbye to us. And now we just know he's at peace. And it's kind of the moment where the movie releases the shackles upon you. It's like you were locked in, you were the
Yeah.
camera the entire time, and he has now freed us. And we now know his name as like one of the pioneers of UFC. And that's what this movie is really about. Like getting to know a human being on a human level and just knowing his name and knowing his contribution to history. It was, even the more I talk about it, I really love this film. I think
Me
this is
too.
quite a special film.
Because
I
that's not
didn't
always
no.
sorry, that's not always the happy ending for some of these fighters
No, there's
and
sometimes a lot darker.
some athletes in general, especially athletes who deal with contact. You hear about Junior Seau, who was a football player, or Chris Benoit, who was a pro wrestler, who
Mhm.
they were these great people off camera, but then they took so many shots to the head and they were so fucked up in real life. Junior Seau took his own life. Chris Benoit took the life of one of his kids, his wife, and then himself.
Oh my god.
And what head trauma does, we saw what happened to Muhammad Ali, arguably the greatest fighter of all time. Muhammad Ali developed Parkinson's and he lived his life just like suffering at the end. To know what these fighters and people that deal with head trauma, and we hear all this news, these updates about what CTE causes and drug use and what happens to these athletes in combat sports. And to see, like, oh no, this has a happy ending. Don't worry. Like, he ended up having a child. He got married to Dawn. They got divorced 6 years later.
But
But
they
like,
lived some sort of life together, you know.
I almost wonder, and I want to ask you this as well. I almost wonder for some people because they're so programmed to the drama of a sports movie with the
Mhm.
big high tense scene and maybe the upsetting ending that sticks with you, like, oh man, he ended up not doing too good and whatnot. The fact that like we never get that super big moment, but we get this subtle, peaceful ending. I almost wonder if some people, not that they're animals, but like maybe that wasn't enough for people. They wanted that big anticlimactic, and we never really get it.
A lot of reviewers that I watch for this film, they have all been saying this film lacks bite. This film lacks a punch. This film lacks this for a sports drama. This lacks this, lacks this. I'm of the opinion that I want to see new things when I go to the movies. I do not want to
Me
see the
too.
same thing over and over again. And to me, this was just a new take on this genre and on the biopic genre, on the
Yeah.
sports drama genre. It feels like a little bit of something new. Like obviously everything in the story we have seen before. We have seen people being addicted to what, you know, whether it be like painkillers or anything, or using any sort of drugs in the sports world. I mean, we've seen, you know, fractured relationships. We've seen all of this has been done to death. But it's the form here. It's the execution of these assets that I think
Right.
really make it a special film. And just like an overview, I mean, from a script level, think about scenes like the cactus scene. It's written so well. Benny's directing. He's an actor's director. He's an actor himself. He knows how to get the best performances out of these people, even pulling, you know, like real life performances out of like Boz, you know, things like that. Like the filmmaking choices that Benny makes, switching between the different film stocks, the VHS, the cinematography. You know, what was this guy's name?
Cinematographer is
Yeah,
Maceo
Maceo
Bishop.
Bishop. So he did The Curse and the Watcher series on Netflix, the one about like the New Jersey Watcher. He did the
Oh, right,
cinematography for
yeah,
that too,
yeah.
and I actually found out that he did some little research on him. He was like a like secondhand camera unit guy on like Uncut Gems and stuff, and now he's the main cinematographer for a Safdie brother film.
Yeah.
So really, really dope pipeline for him. But his filmmaking, his cinematography is beautiful. That voyeurism, I love it. I want more hazy voyeurism in movies. I really think, I'm really high on this film. I really feel a need to defend it, to like preach to go and see it. This has really stuck with me, and it moved me in a lot of ways. I honestly I didn't expect this movie to hit me the way it did. You know,
Yeah.
it was one of those where I was like, oh, you know, the Smasher Machine. It's a Benny Safdie movie. I'm sure I'm gonna like it, but this is, I actually think, a really special movie. I mean, I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. It's a pretty high review for me. Like I don't, you know, I only give 5 stars to films that, like, you know, I'm seeing completely new things, like one battle after another
Yeah.
or something like that. But I really do think this is an important film, and I really implore you, if you still are watching and haven't seen it, please go see it. it is. I think this is worth seeing in the theaters. This is a very unique, immersive experience. I don't think it's going to be the same at home.
I totally agree, and I almost just feel like as an audience, and again, where I keep going back to this, where some people are programmed because of what they've seen before.
Hmm.
This is a weird example. It might not even be a great example, but I feel like this is where like some people with like Joker 2, spoiler alert, they're like, oh, that's it. He just came to the realization he's not this guy, and we thought there was going to be this big action set piece, and
Yeah.
he's going to start doing this and that. Like, no, 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 you're used to that. This movie did something else.
Hmm.
Like in the sports biopic or the biopic, like I'm like, are we so programmed where we want that
Yeah.
fucked up ending where we're like, oh, that made me feel like shit. That like, no, this is the ending that we wanted, whether or not you wanted this guy to be at peace. Like, what did you? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess people when they say they had not enough bite, I guess like deep down, like, did you want him? Did you want something like really upsetting and dark, like the
I
end of the
I
wrestler?
think people are very accustomed to certain types of tropes and stuff in these films,
Right.
and when they aren't given those things, or aren't given them in a unique way, like they just don't really like it. And I do think the one thing that people are feeling the most in this movie is the runtime. And again, like I do feel the runtime in this one.
Yeah.
It's long and it's slow and it's methodical and whatnot. But I don't want to sacrifice those character vignettes. Like people, I guarantee a producer could argue, what's the point of the fair scene? Can you just cut the fair scene? But
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked this movie as much if I didn't get that scene of Emily Blunt in the Gravitron. I think it's important. I truly think it's important to the story.
It also
Yeah.
shows the dichotomy of, it's not like a huge thing with that scene, but again, here's this big jacked up guy who can whip anybody, but my tummy is going to hurt if I go on there.
Hmm.
Like it's another element to this individual who
Yes.
is riding the merry-go-round instead of getting on the gravitron. It's like, yeah, but dude, in real life, you're like a trained killer. It's
Hmm.
like that is Emily Blunt's scene, in my opinion, for sure.
It's
But
so
we get
beautiful.
another look into how Mark and their relationship.
And then he's on the
Like,
Ferris wheel and he's like, this is more my speed and whatnot.
yeah, and he's on a merry-go-round.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, dude, we didn't even talk about it. And this was in my fucking notes too. The scene where he's watching the car driver get smashed and it's cutting to his face and he's
oh,
having such a sad reaction to it. To me, it's another example of just that visual storytelling. Like at
yeah,
the end of the movie, he doesn't like say like, "Oh, I'm at peace." He just smiles in the shower. It's visual storytelling.
right.
In that scene where he's seeing this driver get beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten and he's sad, it's like he's seeing himself in that. That was a beautiful scene too. There's so many examples I could bring up. I literally forgot about that, but like that's like fucking amazing scene.
Even the same way that like that guy has multiple people rush him to pull him out of the car, the same way that when you get knocked out, your team
Yeah,
rushes to make sure that you're okay. Yeah, no, that's actually great. I remember that scene. I was like, ooh, I'm
you
like,
feel it. You
like,
feel it here. You know.
yep. And it's another look into like how these fighters, their brain also works. Like, it's a high when they're in there, but it doesn't fully turn off when they're outside. Like, you still carry this with you when you're outside of the ring or outside of the octagon or off
Yeah.
the field, whatever. Like, what you take home with you, not just like what exists in the ring when you're actually performing or fighting. And I really appreciated those scenes, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. You want to get into the riff rating for this? I think
Yeah,
we covered our bases here. I really loved. I like this review. This was a good review.
I me too. Yeah. I'm going with an 8. I was giving it a 7 originally, but I'm gonna give it a solid 8, 8 and a half, 8, 8. I'm gonna give it an 8, a very strong 8. I know
I'm
your number. I'm just curious if you're gonna say it.
I want to give it a 9. I'm
Yeah,
between an 8 and a 9. I think I'm gonna my guts leaning towards 9.
yeah,
I I do think that's more of a personal factor. I probably would have said an 8 on this movie with my scale for the riff rating, but I feel a real need to defend this one, and I think this is going to be one during our end of the year roundup, where I'm going to sing this movie's praises a lot. I feel a real
yeah.
need to sing this movie's praises and defend it, especially that it's kind of failing at the box office, which kind of makes me upset.
Which
I
is interesting, by the way, because The Rock has been the box office king.
Yeah, I do think this movie
Like,
could have been marketed a little better. It could have. I don't know a lot of people in my life who know about this movie, so
yeah,
the marketing wasn't really there. Like that's I can tell the marketing's there if my uncle asked me about it, or if my dad asked me about it, or if my mom asked me about it. Because my dad's always on social media. He'll see shit and he'll be like, "Oh, yo, did you see that trailer?" Like he was
yeah,
like, "Yo, I've been seeing one battle after another trailer. It's like that movie looks kind of good." And I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, it's fucking good. Go see it."
yeah.
But I will say, I do think Benny, and I would even include Josh, the Safdie brothers, they're in the same boat of that A24 bubble like Ari Aster, where their movies usually fail. But I think A24 recognizes their talent and is like, okay, we're always going to give them money. Like,
I
we're always
agree.
going to support cinema in that way. And I really hope that trend continues. I just want more movies from this guy. Benny, this is a great film. Like
I agree.
I wanted to tweet at him and be like, "Yo, I love this movie, man. Like this is really great stuff." Because I've been seeing he's just responding to people on Twitter.
That's cool.
Like he's such a chill dude. Like I really like him, and I love this film. And so I'm at a 9 with this.
Okay.
It's probably an 8 on the Riff rating scale, but I'm at a 9.
Okay. You're at a 9. I'm at an 8. So if we were gonna like come somewhere in between, that's like an 8.5
Yep.
if we're coming together on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty wrapped up on this movie. Do you have anything else you want to add
Me
in?
too. I really recommend you guys go see this one.
100%. So that's our review of the Smashing Machine. Please don't forget to smash the like, subscribe, share. That's true. Share buttons, comments, and word of mouth. Just like this movie needs word of mouth, so does the podcast.
Yeah.
So by all means,
At the
follow us
Chicago
on
Film
that.
Festival, I'm gonna like pull a Benny Safdie and wear a cardboard box of the real Riff and like promote the shit out of our podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna dress as Dawn, as Emily Blunt. I'm gonna
Okay,
put on
we're
her
ending
accent.
it here. We're ending it here.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you
Bye,
guys for
everybody.
watching.